guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's vlog, I thought I would do something different and share a little bit more about myself, and so you can get to know me a little bit better. What I did was, on Instagram stories, I sent out a question, which was, what would you want to know about me? And I got a bunch of responses, a bunch of questions, and so today I thought I would answer all of them. And some were okay questions, some were surprising, and some were pretty good. And thank you so much for sending the questions, by the way. They're really helpful. I really wanted to do a get to know you kind of video for the longest time, but I didn't know how to go about it. Like, I didn't know where to start, or I don't know, like what would be interesting about me. And these questions really helped me know what you would like to know about me, and so that this wouldn't be like the most boring vlog ever. And so let's get on to it. These are my answers to your questions. Okay, so number one question that was asked quite a lot was, how old are you? I'm actually 38 this year. I was born in 1981. August 28th is my birthday. I know that is not young, and people actually get shocked when they hear about my age. Like, they get shocked because they think that I'm in my 20s or early 30s. But no, guys, I'm in my late 30s. And even I get shocked with that idea because I don't really feel that way. I don't feel old or that I'm approaching 40s. Such a scary thought. Yeah, I think that is mainly why I don't like celebrating my birthday. Like, ever since I turned 35, it's like I kind of like stop wanting to celebrate, and I think it kind of happens. Like, when you get to your mid-30s, you're kind of like, I don't want to get old, so I don't want to celebrate. But yeah, this year I think I might just get myself a nice present instead of celebrating with a party, which I'm not really into these days. So the next most asked question is, will you have another baby? As you know, I have Tristan. He is 4 years old, and he is my only child. And yeah, everyone keeps asking me, are you gonna have another baby soon? Are you gonna have a baby girl? I really can't answer that at the moment, because right now we're at a point in our lives, like me and my husband, we've kind of like decided that life is simpler with just one, and life is more manageable with one. And it's like, I feel, especially me, like I feel like my life is just getting back to the way it was before. Like, it's more manageable, my schedule, it's just easier with one. And I could not imagine getting pregnant again and having to give birth and take care of a newborn child. I can't imagine doing that all over again. In a way, I was kind of traumatized with my firstborn. Not that it was all bad. Having a baby was really such a wonderful experience. I mean, you can't compare it to anything else in life. This just gives my life so much meaning and so much purpose. But it's also very difficult. It's very difficult to take care of a child and to be responsible for another human being. And just thinking about taking care of a newborn to a toddler, I mean, you'd think that things would get easier, but really it doesn't. You just get a new set of trials and challenges after you're done with a certain period. And yeah, I don't think being a parent becomes easier. And I think right now, my husband and I decided one is okay, one is manageable. But if we end up having another one, then of course we would welcome that child with open arms, and we would love that child just as much as our first. And yeah, that's my answer for now. I mean, we're not trying. If that is your business, we're not really trying right now, but if it should happen that I would get pregnant, then that would be a blessing. Okay, so here's another question. It is, aside from modeling and being a mom, what keeps you busy? So I'm not actively modeling anymore, but I should say I'm very active in social media. I have my blog, I have this vlog, I have my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook that I all manage on my own. I don't really have a personal assistant, and I kind of wish I did, but it's manageable. And I do get like gigs once in a while. I don't really do print ads, I don't do commercials anymore, and it's like the modeling business has really changed. It's like people get me to endorse through my Instagram or through my IG stories, and I think this is just more authentic and more natural in a sense that I share my own life. And it is also easier because I don't need to go to a studio to shoot something, nor do I have to shoot a commercial for 2 days and be gone for 2 days straight. I can actually produce the photos and the videos right here in the comfort of my home with my child, with my son, with my husband. And it's just so much easier because I just play myself. I'm not a model playing like some other person, some fictional character. And yeah, it's just so much easier, and I do appreciate this job even more. Like, I love this job, what I do, and I love sharing my life to you guys, and hopefully I inspire you to live a better life, because you guys inspire me, of course, every day. Like, I always read your DMs on Instagram, and I always get inspired by your words, by your wisdom, and by your advice. Like, I constantly get advice from you guys, and I really love it. I love the two-way conversation. And ask any one of my followers and they will tell you that I always reply to any DM. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like, when I'm not doing anything, I will answer your direct messages to me because I like the conversation. So anyway, back to modeling. I don't really model like in a traditional way, but I do things through social media, and I'm very happy that we're doing it this way right now, like this conversation. I enjoy it more because I'm more in control with my time, and I get to manage my time better. I love that. Okay, so what else keeps me busy? I do have a travel show on ENC. It's called Trending with Kelly. I'm Kelly, and once in a while we would have to fly out to a different country, to a different city, to a different island, and explore it, and I get to show you the best of that place, of that city. And usually I bring my family with me, but lately I haven't been able to because my son now has school and he has a sort of routine that we like to follow, and now I'm thinking I can't really bring him to all the destinations that we go to. But I guess we get to choose. Like, if it's a country that's far away and it would require us to be away for like 3 weeks, then of course I would have to bring my son because I can't be away from him that long. And my husband gets to go as well, which is a bonus because someone has to take care of my son. Apart from that, we don't have a nanny, we don't have a helper or a yaya for my son. So what else keeps us busy and on our toes is taking care of our son Tristan. So yeah, we do everything. We're very hands-on when it comes to him, and we try to do everything ourselves. So it's like a teamwork. I really need my husband and he needs me. So we work as a team and we really help each other out every day. Okay, so another question is, which college did you go to and what course did you take? I went to De La Salle University and I took up organizational communication. Initially, I wanted communication arts and I got in DLSU with the course communication arts. But then later on, I found out that communication arts is a quota course, meaning you would have to take an exam in order to get into the program and in order to study the major subjects. And unfortunately, I did not pass the exam, and so I moved on to organizational communication, which was the nearest thing to communication arts. I think it was okay. I did still want to take up communication arts. Yeah, I guess the next best thing was organizational communication, and I did get to apply it, I think, to my life because I'm in front of the camera, and now, I mean, I operate the camera pretty much. I edit the photos on Instagram. I think my photography courses did pay off, but then I also outsourced an editor for the more difficult videos like travel vlogs, and when I'm too busy then I would hire her. But yeah, for the longest time I've been editing my own videos, I've been writing my own scripts, and I think it's very much applicable. Like, I think everything that I learned in college I do get to apply into my life right now, and I get to apply it to my show because sometimes I do get to interview people. I write my own script sometimes, and I write my own interview questions, and I basically work in front of the camera. So all of those things that I learned in school, I am able to use today. Yeah, I'm very happy about that. But then in terms of working corporate or working for a company, I never got to do that in my life unless you count all the engagements that I've done for these companies when it comes to social media in a way that counts as working for a company. Sponsored posts, yeah, that's the only time that I really get to work with companies in the corporate setting. Okay, so what is the color of your hair? I get asked this question so many times. Like, I think hundreds of you have asked me the same question. I can't really tell you the exact color because it took a while to get to what this color is. I go to Lord Ramos of Creations BGC. His salon is at BGC Stopover at the 3rd floor, and yeah, I go to him for anything hair related. If you want this color, then I suggest you go to him because he would know what this color is. Okay, so another question is, does it get hard to shop for clothes when you're tall? Actually, it is only difficult to wear certain clothes when it's local Filipino brands. That's what I noticed anyway. When it comes to like kind of like retail brands that are international, like H&M and Promod, Zara, I pretty much am the normal height. I am 5'7", so I'm not really considered that tall. I mean, I think tall for them would be like 5'11" or 6 footer. So I am pretty much like the normal height for all these brands. So whenever I shop these popular retail brands, I usually fit the clothes better. But then when it comes to local brands, it is usually much smaller. Like it's for more petite frame, which is the typical Filipino frame, which is I think around 5'3" or 5'4". That's when I have a hard time because I would have to size up. But then whenever I size up, then the clothes would not hang properly on me. It would be too large, but then still very short. It's difficult for me to do local brands, but then I still give them a try. I still try to promote them as much as I can in my Instagram. And yeah, I'm still very open-minded when it comes to these things. But then that's what I noticed though. So, especially in swimwear, like I have a very long torso for my height. And whenever I wear like one-piece swimsuits, I usually order them in a size large. Most of the time it works out. Sometimes though, like when the swimsuit is still short, but then the width is like bigger, then that would not fit me very well. Most of the time I go for popular international brands and they fit me perfectly. Okay, so next question. What career would you be in if you had not gotten into modeling, hosting, or endorsements? Okay, so back in college, like I said, I took up organizational communication. We were really heavy on working for NGOs and helping out like non-profit organizations, and I think I would have gone towards that direction. That was our background, and our teachers were very heavy on helping out these organizations. Like at some point I saw myself working for these organizations and I really thought I would end up doing that. Yeah, probably still in the communications industry or the communications department. It's really hard to take me out of there because I feel more comfortable in that setting. I think I would work for an NGO that would help out projects, that would help out the community. I think I would be great at that actually. Yeah, maybe it's not too late. I mean, who knows? Like in the near future, I might just get into that as well. So next question is, how did you meet your husband? He is actually the brother of one of my good friends, Misa-Fernandez. And actually, I met Bianca when I joined this modeling contest for Teen Magazine, the now defunct Teen Magazine. I think it was like Christmas, one of those Christmases back in college. My cousin came up to me and she brought a magazine, which was Teen Magazine, which had an ad that they were looking for models and they were gonna do like a modeling contest. And so she showed it to me and I was like, oh yeah, why don't we join it for fun? And so we actually went to like a photo studio, the ones with like the tie-dye kind of background. And we had our photos taken there. We did a photo shoot and we submitted those photos to this magazine. And I got a call back and they told me that I was part of the top 20 of the roster of girls who were vying for like the top, I don't know, model of the year or whatever, or teen model search of the year, or teen model of the year, whatever that is. And so I was so excited to be part of the top 20, and yeah, I was just so happy to be there. That's where I met Bianca, and we didn't hit it off right away, to be honest, because she is kind of like bossy. It's funny. Anyway, when it came to the top 10, they took me out of the list and I was devastated. I was like, oh, I really wanted to be part of that modeling contest. But then I got a call back again that one of the girls was not proceeding or was not going to continue that contest with the top 10. And so I was number 11, so they bumped me up and they included me in the top 10. And that's when eventually what happened to that contest, Solenn Yusuf, we all know and love. She was the one who won this contest, and me, Bianca, and a few other girls. So the prize was a modeling contract for Calcaris, and Solen got in. Of course, she was the winner. But Bianca and I were also invited to join Calcaris, and so that's why we became close, because Bianca and I lived in the same area, and so we would always like carpool whenever we needed to go to castings or we needed to go to the agency for anything. And yeah, that's when we became really close, and that's when we started hanging out. And of course, I would hang out in her house, and her brother was always there, which was Carlos. And I actually got close to her whole set of friends, including Carlos's friends and family. And Carlos is like the last person that I got to get to know because he's kind of like shy. But yeah, we hit it off, and the rest is history. Okay, next, what were your biggest insecurities and how were you able to use it to your advantage? Okay, so back in high school, yeah, I think I was like in grade 6th grade or 7th grade. I was like normal height, and then I just grew tall really quickly, and I just became like 5'7" in like one summer. And that made me so thin, like my body could not adapt to like the stretching. And I was like really thin, like so thin. And I think that was my biggest insecurity, because all throughout high school and a little bit of college, I was just so thin, and people would like tell me, "You're so thin," like give me like that look of kind of like panic and fear that I was just too thin, because really like my limbs were like sticks, and my legs, they were like so skinny. I was so skinny, like my face was sunken. I looked like an old person. I was just so skinny. But then I think it was just malnutrition. I wasn't eating properly. All I ate back then was sugary treats and more sugar and more chips. Like all I ate was just all bad food, and I wasn't getting the proper nutrition, I think. And that's why I was just so thin. And I got to a point when I would like force myself to eat, try to eat, but then I couldn't. Like I couldn't eat because of course I was eating junk food in between, and so I wasn't getting the proper nourishment. Like looking back, like that was really the answer to that. And I was always like questioning myself and God, like why was I so thin? And it was so being so melodramatic, but it was really all the sugar that was making me melodramatic. And yeah, all throughout that time I was so insecure. I never wore shorts because I didn't want to show my legs. I would always wear like baggy clothes, like always with sleeves, always like long pants with socks, big shoes, to kind of camouflage this thinness. And I would just try to cover up my body as much as I could. Looking back, it was so unnecessary to do all of that. But yeah, it was just funny. Like that was in the 90s. Thankfully, it was in the 90s. That was always my biggest insecurity. And I remember also in the 90s was the waif look. Kate Moss was like the thinnest, skinniest model ever, and everyone was saying, she's anorexic and she's too thin. And I was able to cope up with life because I idolized her, and she was like, oh, she's thin and I'm thin too. Maybe I can be a model too one day. And that's when I kind of like got into modeling. I love the whole idea of like a supermodel, and that's when I started following all these big supermodels like Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Elle Macpherson, and like all these other models, Kate Moss of course. And I was just into that. Like I felt like in a way I belonged. Like I would like lose myself in the modeling world, or like I would constantly watch like runway shows and think maybe one day I can join them, I can be part of their thin group or girl gang or whatever. But yeah, that was like my biggest insecurity, and I got over it through modeling, I think. Like I found solace in other thin girls, which is so weird right now thinking about it. But I really was so thin. I'm gonna try to post photos. You would be shocked. And I was not pretty at all. So that was my insecurity. It took me a while to get over it, and I think modeling also helped me because I was able to find myself and accept things about myself that I would not accept. And it was a long process, of course. It didn't happen overnight. And as I gained confidence by getting more work, and by work I meant like really like trying out all the VTRs I could. Like my first job was like an extra. And then I was like the friend. I was never like the lead role, and it took me years to get my first lead commercial. And it was a long process, but I'm glad I did it that way. And so I was able to gain my confidence slowly but surely. And now I'm here today in front of you guys, sharing my experiences about this. It's just so weird, but I hope you learn a little bit about this. Have you ever had your heart broken? Oh, okay. Yes, of course. It's weird. I don't want to share stories about like my exes or my past. But I did get my heart broken. I had the biggest crush on this guy in high school, and I don't know why. I was just so obsessed with this person. Like every day I would look for him in school. My day would not be complete without seeing him. And you know how it is when you have a crush. It's like your heart is in your throat, and just like a high would like make you want to faint and write a long journal about it, which is what I did. And yeah, I think I got my heart broken when I asked my friend to ask him, kind of fish, if what he thought of me. And my friend was like, oh, he said no. And that was what I got, and I just burst into tears, and I just could not stop crying when I heard it. And it was so casual too. It was like a casual conversation, and I was just bawling my eyes out in class, and my teacher was like, can you leave the classroom because I don't want to see you. Wash your face, get a hold of yourself. He didn't know what was happening, but I was like devastated. And I think that was like my first heartbreak ever, knowing that that guy thought I was, and it just hurt me so much. I mean, looking back, of course, it happened like in high school. That was such a long time ago. But you know how it is when you're at that age. Everything is so magnified and heightened, and like little things are big things to you. And so I was heartbroken that time. I don't think I ever told anyone this, but anyway, it's good that you guys know. And then later on, as I proceeded to get into relationships, of course, I got my heart broken. I did cause my own heartbreak for those relationships because I was the one who decided to end those relationships. And of course, it's never easy to do that. And in a way, you kind of break your own heart because these are people that you've gotten so close, and so, I don't know, of course you love those people. I mean, those are my exes, by the way, we're talking about. And later on, I would move to getting into relationships, and I was the one who broke my own relationships because I guess with my age, I was still young, I was looking for certain things, and yeah, even though I did end those relationships, I ended up breaking up my own heart because you get so close to this other person and you end up loving them so much, and in the end you cause your own misery by breaking the relationship, and that is never easy. But I think it's all part of growing up. It's part of life. I think it really helped me become the person I am today. But I have to admit, there were times when I did doubt myself and I regretted my decisions. And that was because, of course, I was destroying my own relationships with these people. But you live and you learn. And I'm glad that I got to learn a piece of myself through those relationships, and I got to learn so much from that other person, and I'm forever thankful for these people who came into my life, for teaching me so much, for teaching me a lot about myself and how I am to be in a relationship. And it's a process of learning also. When you're in a relationship, of course you learn about the other person, but you also learn about yourself, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And it's always hard to like break up for all these things to happen, but that's life. Okay, on to the next question. Are you still on keto, or you get to eat carbs once in a while? Okay, so I have been on the ketogenic diet for 2 years now. My husband and I started on this journey to keto, and we have been so happy ever since we started. And we feel so healthy and so alive, and we love that we get to push each other to be the best versions of ourselves. And we get to do it through keto and through eating right. And we realize that food is really medicine, and as we don't want to end up in a hospital when we get older, we invest in food right now so that that would never happen. We don't want our medicine to be our food. We want our food to be our medicine. And so we just try our very best to eat the best we could. And we've found that ketogenic diet really works for us, and it's just so healthy for us. I mean, we've never looked younger or better in our entire lives, and we're just so happy that we've discovered this, something that really works for us and something that we can share to our friends and family so that they can be healthy too, because we don't want to live forever and everyone else is like sick. And yeah, do I eat carbs once in a while? I do cheat sometimes, especially when we travel. I find that when you're in Japan, you have to eat sushi along with the rice. Or when you're in Italy, you have to eat the ice cream, you have to eat the gelato, right? And so in a way, we have to live life also. But when it comes to the house, like when we're eating here at home, it's a strict keto. We don't cheat at all. And we really try to push each other not to cheat. And we're just so much more aware of what we put into our bodies. And we're just so happy with keto. And so what I do is when I cheat with carbs or with sugar, which I try not to eat a lot of, I try to do intermittent fasting or IF the next day. My next meal would be like at 2:30 or at 3 p.m. And I think that kind of also helps like burn whatever bad food I've eaten, especially when I drink, which I rarely do, but sometimes like I have to go out and enjoy myself. But I really try to limit my drinking, my alcohol, to gin, vodka, or tequila. But I really lean towards gin and tequila more because that tastes better. And I've kind of like become traumatized with vodka. Anyway, okay, next question. Is it true that you're a licensed physician? Not really, no. I'm not a doctor. I did not graduate from med school at all. I never studied medicine. I was completely into the communication arts kind of lifestyle or schooling. And yeah, I did think about becoming a doctor at one point. I think I was in grade school, but I think it was mostly my grandmother who was trying to like inject the idea into my head because her dream was to become a doctor, but her parents told her she was going to be a pharmacist. So she was very disappointed and she was trying to like make me live her dream. And I thought for a while that yeah, that would be cool, but in the end I realized it was not for me. How good were you in school? Okay, it depends. Because I have failed subjects like math and trigonometry. I really hated those. I hated geometry. All the things where you had to use the calculator. But I really excelled in English, in speaking, in, well, surprise, surprise, right? I really excelled in the communication part of school. And so when it came to taking up my major subjects, I was a dean's lister because I was very interested in my courses. I was interested in video and film. I was interested in photography and writing and all of that. And so I really excelled when it came to my major subjects. So I did do well in school, but I also failed a lot of algebra, a lot of trigonometry and all of that. So it depends. I think everyone has like a different kind of intelligence. Some are really good at sports, so they kind of have like a sporty or sports intelligence. Is that such a thing? Or it's like some people are more into left brain or right brain, more analytical or more into arts. And so it really depends. And I think school is a good way to gauge that, but it's not the only way to gauge your intelligence. And so I think the important thing is that you find something that you really love, and I found that I love communication arts or organizational communication, and that's why I excelled in school at that time. How to start vlogging? Okay, so I wanted to vlog for the longest time. Actually, I opened this YouTube channel back in 2012. You could see that, like when you go to like about, and I wanted to start as early as then, but I was just so fearful. Like, what do I say? Would people accept me? What would I talk about? And so of course the fear got the best of me, and so I stuck to just blogging. And around that time blogging was big, so people still read blogs. And as I found later on, people started to shift into YouTube and started watching videos. Me, myself, like I started doing the same. I moved from reading blogs to watching vlogs. And so kind of forced myself to learn how to edit and to be in front of the camera and to just do it. Like I think I just made a decision. I bought a vlogging camera, which is what I'm using now. I bought a tripod and I was just, okay, I might as well just do it. And I was already doing my travel show, and I thought, well, sometimes I have like my free time. Maybe I can like do my vlogging then. And true enough, when my first vlog ever was trip to Ho Chi Minh, and that was one of the highest viewed vlogs ever, which is so surprising. And I'm glad that was one of the highest viewed vlogs because that really gave me the confidence and kind of the motivation to do more. Because I mean, my first edit was like well received, and that made me happy. And so I just continued to edit. Even though I was the slowest editor, I still am the slowest editor in the world. Like, it takes me a week to do it, and I think that's how you start. You just have to make that decision, and then when you make that decision, you have to get the requirements needed, because of course you need a camera, or unless you have a nice phone, then you use your phone, and then you kind of like force yourself to learn something new, which is editing, unless you have an editor or a friend who can help you out. Then you find ways, you know what I mean? You make that decision and you make it happen. It's kind of like learning something new. Like, if I want to decide I want to knit, then what do I need to knit? Then first of all, you make that decision, and then you buy the materials, right? And then you watch all these YouTube videos on how to knit, or you read books. I don't know. That's the way you do it. And that's the same way with vlogging, and that's how I did it. It's a step-by-step thing. It's not an overnight thing, like you'll be an overnight sensation. Although sometimes that happens to people and they're very lucky. But it's about the process of learning and about making yourself better and improving yourself. And I like that idea, because I know that all of these skills I'll be able to use in the future. I'm using it now and I'll be able to use it in the future, and I'm happy about that. And yeah, it's an extra skill that you learn that is never wasteful. Okay, next question. Who's your favorite local singer? Okay, so I'm a 90s kid. I grew up in the 90s, so I love everything 90s. I used to obsess about Smoky Mountain. I used to memorize all their songs. Lea Salonga, of course, with Miss Saigon. I memorized the whole Miss Saigon musical. Francis Magalona. I love River Maya, and of course, I love Eraserheads. And that's sort of like my 90s playlist that I have in a folder, and I just listen to it once in a while, and it just brings me back to my grade school days. And it's just so much fun. Like, I love like going back in time through songs or through music, and those are kind of like my favorites. Now it makes me want to listen to them again, because it just brings back so much memory. Okay, so next, do you watch musicals? If you do, what is your favorite? Okay, so I'm not really that much into musicals, although I did memorize Miss Saigon. I never really watched it. I just had a cassette that I just played over and over again, and that was, I memorized it. But I never seen Miss Saigon, which is so sad. I don't really get to watch musicals because I don't have anyone to go with. But I love musicals. I mean, I know musical songs and I know the stories. I usually watch them when they're like in movie form. I usually watch the movie version, but I grew up dancing ballet, and so in a way, like, I grew up like in stage and like learning dance and all of that, and just watching ballets, and I think that is so similar to musicals. I need to find a musical buddy. In the meantime, I just watch in the comfort of my home. Okay, how tall are you? I'm 5'7". Who is your favorite Disney princess? My favorite has always been Belle, just because she's into books, and I used to be into books. At around that time when the movie came out, I used to be a total bookworm, and my dream job before was to be a librarian, and I just wanted to be like Belle, but of course, like, minus like the whole beast thing. Yeah, I think I could most identify with Belle just because she was into books and so was I. Which magazine were you first featured on? That was Teen Magazine when I joined that teen model search. They were the first ones who took a chance on me. And I think the first one I ever did was for a situationer kind of article. Like, I had to like act like I just graduated from college, and I was wearing like graduation robe with like the hat, and I was just like cheering like that. And I thought I won $1 million. I thought I had made it as a model because I came out in a magazine, and I was just so happy. I was obsessed with that magazine when it came out, and I was showing everyone. I was so proud of it. And even though it was just like 1/8 of the page, it was really, really tiny, I was happy to come out in a magazine because that was really my dream growing up. What is your weight and your height? My weight? My weight fluctuates, but I'm around like 118 to 120. My height is 5'7". Did your family used to own a resort in La Union? No, not really. We never really owned a resort. Do you eat rice? I want to know how you maintain your figure. No, I don't eat rice. I don't eat any grains. I don't eat noodles. noodles, rice. I'm on the ketogenic diet, so it's no carbs, zero carbs, and zero sugar. How did you know that you found true love? Oh gosh, it's very long. I guess I knew because I could picture myself spending the rest of my life with my husband. We had been together for such a long time. I think it was nearing like 7 years. And when he proposed, it was really a no-brainer. I knew that he was the person that I could spend my time, that I could share my dreams with, my goals, aspirations, and we knew each other very well, I think, at that point. But nothing could prepare me for marriage, because marriage is really a different thing. But you really get to know your partner through marriage and by having a baby. But it's really like the true test of any relationship, that I have to say. And you don't know your husband to be, or your boyfriend or whatever, until you've gotten married and you've had kids. That's when you really know that person. And of course, no regrets, but it's just that I did not know that. I thought that how I knew him as boyfriend-girlfriend was going to remain the same all throughout. No, your relationship changes as you go through different stages and phases in life, and it gets harder. You really have to work for the relationship. It's like a plant. You have to maintain it and like allow it to grow and like, you know, put the fertilizer or whatever, put it under the sun. You really have to work at your relationships. Are you a born-again Christian? No, I'm not. I am Catholic. I was born and raised as a Catholic. What is one of the lessons you treasure from your mom? My mom was very wise with her money. She's a spendthrift and she was very matipid, super tipid actually. And I think I found like the balance between the two, like when to spend and when to save. And most of the time I save just because I have her in my head telling me what to do. And since she lived by example as well, like she's really so matipid. And yeah, it kind of rubbed off on me, but there are times when I also want to rebel and just spend. And yeah, it's kind of like I live my life with the balance of the two. Like I have to be smart with my choices on when to spend, but I also try to save as much as I can. So that is one lesson that she taught. Favorite clothing brand? I like Uniqlo, H&M. I mean, those are the go-to brands, right, that everyone goes through because they are so affordable. But I also like discovering local brands, even if it's just through Instagram, because sometimes the quality is really good and different. But of course, when it comes to like basics and like tried and tested, I go to my favorite, my basics: Promon, Dorothy Perkins, Topshop, H&M, Uniqlo. Those are the go-to brands that we generally go to. But I'm always on the lookout for new brands that are popping up everywhere that offer something different. But we also want to mix things up. And so I'm always also on the lookout for great designer brands that really won't break the bank so much, but are made of really good quality that can last you for years and years. That's why I also like going the pre-love route. Like I go through ukay-ukays or pre-love stores that are kind of high-end. Like they carry designer brands and labels. But yeah, I try to go through that route because I know the clothes are well made and are made of really quality materials, and so I know it'll last a long time. I try to invest my money on those as well. So it's like finding a balance between the two. I mean, fast fashion is readily available, but I try as much as possible to like find or buy things that are pre-loved. Okay, so I also got a lot of skincare and makeup routine or tips. I'm thinking I'll do that on another video. I'm still wearing I'm gonna get to that one of these days. I promise I'm gonna share that with you. And yeah, I think that's about it. For some reason my Instagram isn't working and I can't see the older responses from yesterday, but I remember I saw one that said, how come you never wear like a bold lip and you always wear the same lipstick all the time? It's because I think this one complements my skin tone very well and it makes my eyes look bigger. Whenever I wear like a bold lip, I think my eyes disappear. I don't know why. Or whenever I wear like a glossy lip, my eyes become so small. But yeah, I think I found this one. This is the lip color that I really love and I feel so confident in, and I really love wearing it every single day. I'm comfortable in like matte lipstick. I guess that means that's the end of the video because I can't really access all the other responses. I hope you like this one, guys. This is a very long one, but I hope you learned a little bit more about me. And as always, if you like this video, please like and comment down below and subscribe to my channel if you want. No pressures. I will see you in my next video. If you want me to do something similar, please leave it on the comment down below. Bye guys!